Welcome back to the KSS YouTube channel. On today's episode, we're going to be showing you how to cut an RBC to fit a Type S or a K20A2 head. But we're not only going to be doing that, we're going to be installing it onto Aiden's Del Sol. That's the A2 that he has. So yeah, here's the RBC right here. This is the one that we showed a couple months back that we got at the junkyard off a CSX Type S 2008. So yeah, a junkyard RBC. Just a little flex on you guys because we actually got this manifold for $30.
Yeah.
And what do they sell for? Like three to 500, like brand new, let's say.
Yeah.
So yeah, we got a really good deal on that, and Aiden shined it up really good with some cleaner and wire brush. So yeah, we're gonna head on that, and we're gonna get into cutting into here. Put the adapter on for the Type S throttle body and his thermal gasket. So that's gonna be this episode, is putting a RBC manifold on a Type S head.
If you're using the stock Type S throttle body, the cable-driven throttle body, you're going to need this adapter that goes from the RBC to the throttle body, because yeah, it's cable-driven, and the Z3 one is electronic throttle. So like, it depends on your swap. If you have that harness and you want to do electronic throttle, you can do that. But if you're staying with cable, you're going to need this adapter. And then while we have the intake manifold off, I might as well put on a thermal gasket, because it helps decrease heat transfer between the intake manifold and the head, because it makes a lot of heat. So it'll make your intake temperatures go down, which equals more power. We're gonna get ready to take the stock PRB manifold off. So we just got to get the fuel line off, all the hoses, throttle body, connectors and stuff, and we'll get the RBC swapped over.
So we just got the stock PRB manifold off the head, and we didn't even have to drain the coolant because there was hoses, and so we just took the bolts and put the throttle body to its side. So we didn't have to drain any of the coolant. So yeah, we got it off, and we're gonna get back to putting the RBC on right now.
While I'm here, I'm gonna redo this starter wire because it kept popping off. As you can see, it was super easy to take off. Like, I swear to God, we'd go on cruises and it would pop off like 14
times the drive, man.
Yeah. It wouldn't start, and I'm like, oh, gotta get out, go underneath the manifold, put it on, and go. So I'll redo that so it sits nicely, and yeah, we'll get back to throwing the RBC on.
So I just took out the K-tuned thermal gasket, and I'm gonna use it actually to just as a template as to where to cut the manifold. So I'm just gonna go here, and then we'll take the marker and go along that little end section here of the gasket, because this is the part where we need to delete, which is like just like a coolant passage, which is not on the Type S head. So that's what we're going to use as a template, is the actual gasket itself. Aiden is just putting the some bolts in to make sure it's aligned. So he just put a few so it doesn't slide or anything, and now he's just going to trace the spot where it needs to be cut.
Make sure it's all lined up, ready to go. That looks about right, and we'll start tracing.
And if you use a purple marker, it actually adds 5 horsepower.
Exactly.
So we had to use the purple Sharpie.
So we got our RBC set up in the vise here. No, we're gonna we have our little setup here. We're gonna start cutting here. We're gonna do the main cut, because a little cutting disc like this can't do precisely, can't cut precisely. So we're just gonna do the main cut, and then we'll do all the fine cutting with the drill there. I have it on another disc, like a softer disc. Yeah, and then I'll just smooth that out. So yeah, we'll get ready to cutting that now.
That compressor is too small. We were using that other grinder, so Aiden went to the store and he picked up a big electric grinder, because it's actually going to do the job. Now our lighting setup is going to be a little ghetto, because, well, not ghetto, I think we could see. We have to just put the battery light on, the light bar, because that light right here, it takes too much power, and like, yeah, watch. So it's gonna just be stupid. So yeah, light bar it is for the grind session. Aiden is wearing safety glasses.
Of course.
We suggest to wear safety glasses. We do not have a second pair, so I will be doing the safety squint.
Yeah.
Let's go.
As you can see, we just got the main cut done, just roughly where we need to go. And then we're gonna take the drill with the pads on it, and we're just gonna smooth that out. You still see that we have a lot to take off, but yeah, it almost bolts up. We just tried it and it looks sick, so we'll just get to finish smoothing this out. We are done cutting the RBC to fit the head. We just did the main cut and then started smoothing it out with the drill, and you could do a little bit better job getting it close, but it's pretty good. And it would be better to use like a diamond bit to get it really smooth and precise, but this will do for what we're doing. So now we're just gonna blow out with the air gun.
Make sure you blow it, yeah. You gotta make sure you blow it out to not get all those metal shavings that went in it into your motor. So we're gonna blow it out. Aiden's just gonna clean his head surface, the head mating surface. His gasket, even though his gasket came out completely fine, no rips, because this is a brand new gasket when he actually swapped the car. Yeah, he's gonna then go ahead and install his thermal gasket and then the RBC manifold on top of that. And he's actually gonna put, where are those bolts? They're right there. He's gonna put, so it looks fancy. Oh, there we go, it's gone. He's actually gonna put these 4 6mm Allen bolts on top to give it a clean look, sleek look. Another trade-off that we do is we actually take the studs out of the head, because sometimes this can get in the way of removing your manifold. I remember having that issue. I'm pretty sure, like, you could, I think it's possible, but it's it's a big hassle. So we just take the studs out. It's a trade-off because you have to line it up, but after that you can remove your manifold with no problem after. Nothing's blocking it. Make sure you put your intake manifold gasket on the right way. This is an example. So look at the distance between these 2 bolt holes and look at the distance between these 2 bolt holes. The space is bigger on one side. It's actually the congratulations, I forgot which side it was, but anyway, just make sure to line up your intake manifold gasket the right way before you install it. We just made that mistake.
So we got the RBC sitting in place. Not all the bolts are in yet. I actually got to get a few more of those Allen bolts, but it's sitting in there nicely. And now we can put our K-tune adapter plate and mate up our throttle body. Here's our K-tune adapter, and it comes with the RBC gasket in the kit, which is nice. You don't have to go buy it at the dealer. And these are the bolts that they give you, some Allen bolts. And there's actually a sleeve in the middle that you can take out if you want to go to a bigger throttle body. I'm not going to push it out, but this sleeve in here, if you want to go to, I think it's a 70mm throttle body, you just push it out and you don't actually have to port it. But if you're going any bigger than that, then you're going to need to do some porting.
The adapter's on, and now Aiden's just going to mate on the Type S throttle body to the RBC manifold.
Yeah, I don't have the gasket yet. I'm still waiting on that. I have the K-tune thermal gasket on the way, but I'm just going to bolt it up for demonstration purposes.
And we have encountered another issue, which is the purge valve and the breather, or the brake booster tube. It's hitting in this area of the hood webbing. We put a camera down in the hood to make sure where it where it was hitting, and yeah, it's in that area I just pointed to. So what are you thinking?
Some ideas, yeah. Purge, we don't even use it anyway. We have it capped off, so we can just order a block off plate. I think they're on Amazon for like $20-30, so that's not bad. And for this, I'm thinking, like, people have done this before, there might be an alternative, but if not, we could cut it and kind of weld it, angle it at a different angle so it's not going to hit the hood. Just some options. We'll do some research after filming this and see what we can do. But yeah, put interference if you're using the RBC on a Delso. Another thing we're going to be doing tonight is redoing all these fuel lines. As you guys saw in the last video, they were touching the hot side of the turbo, so what we're thinking is we're going to move it on the side of the shock tower there, run it along, and then have the line go into the fuel rail. So we're going to get on that now. We have some extra fuel line and we're going to make some lines. We have the AEM regulator out with the actually you can see our thing is upside down. We have to flip it. We're just too lazy last time we put it together, and we're like, oh, it'll do. But we got it out and we're going to put it right here. So we're going to have our 90. It's going to come out here into the rail, and then the 45 out the bottom. And then this line we may not even have to redo. We're just going to kind of bend the line over and see if it'll reach over it. It might work. If it doesn't, then we'll just make another line. But we're going to show you how to do AN lines right now.
So we just put the regulator in the area where it's gonna be, which is around here. And we just took our fuel, our 6 a.m. fuel line, and we did a measurement from here to, I don't have 4 arms, but to the fuel rail. So, and I just taped off where it needs to be cut, right here. So we'll get the grinder out and we're gonna cut there. Oh yeah, AN lines, you have to put tape where you're gonna cut, or else the braided part is just gonna fray and you're gonna have a hard time putting the spin-on part onto the line. So tape your line before you cut it. With your line cut, take your tape off. Hopefully it's not as frayed, because that'll make it harder to spin the fitting, or this part of the fitting on. So it's, well, these ones are reverse thread. This part of the fitting is reverse thread. So you put it onto the line, and then yeah, it's starting to go on. You'll see, not sure if you can see in there how far the line is from the step where those small threads are. It's really hard to explain this AN stuff. And I'm done twisting it. I just had a little bit of trouble with this one. And now you can see it is very close. Can you get in the light, maybe?
Yeah, I can't really see all that much.
No, I can't see. Anyway, the rubber line is on the step part before those threads. Now, yeah, reverse thread onto there. Make sure it's on there, nice and tight. Then you just take your this part of the fitting, go in there, get it in a couple threads. This is right hand thread. This is just normal thread. So righty tighty, lefty loosey. So you just tighten it in. Take your, there are specific AN wrenches. We just use, it scratches them or whatever, but they work. Just use some normal crescent wrenches, adjustable wrenches, monkey wrenches, whatever you want to call them. You just go in, get as tight as you can by hand.
And that actually wedges into the line and seals it.
Yeah. That makes the seal of an AN line. That one was reverse thread, but some of them just have like little lines or grooves in them, and you can just push them in. You can spin them if you want, but some of them they'll just go kind of thing, and then you'll feel them seat.
Well, it depends on your fittings, I guess.
Yeah, it depends, but these ones have the reverse thread that you just thread onto the line. And then you just do these as hard as you can, or until it butts up. I've had it with my return line on my turbo. It did not butt up these two sections here, from here to here. It was still open, but I could not tighten it anymore, and it never leaked. So, but all my other fuel lines and stuff, they've all been touching both ends of the fitting. I'll show you guys that in a minute when they're actually touching together. Well, this is a finalized AN fitting on the actual AN line itself. So this is what I meant by the just normal crescent wrenches, these steel wrenches. They scratch up the line. And yeah, there's what I mean by a full butted together connection. So that ain't coming off, and it's ready to go onto the regulator or the fuel rail.
We got most of our fuel lines done. We got the one that goes from the rail to the regulator, to a 90 that goes into it, to a 45 that goes down to our well, this is our feed actually, and then we have our filter. Now we have a 90 that's going down to our return. We still haven't done that, but we have the line here ready to go. We're gonna wrap it up for tonight, but we will finish this another day. We'll just run that line down there. We will realign this gauge. We'll have to properly mount that up. Yeah, I will need a new PCV hose. The stock Type S one is just not quite long enough. But yeah, and then we'll have to figure out what we're doing with the RBC for it not fitting up. Like we said, we might weld this and angle it a bit differently, but I'm gonna order the block off plate for this purge valve tonight, and that'll wrap it up for today's episode. We got the RBC installed and the fuel lines done. Hope you guys enjoyed this one, and we'll see you in the next one.